I'm getting hungry.
We are getting. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Where do you want to eat?
I don't know.
I think it's a Chick-fil-A night, so we won't get it tomorrow.
Ooh.
That's a good idea.
That's why I love
They're gonna
you.
think we're like marketing Chick-fil-A. Yo, I would love a Chick-fil-A deal if anyone's listening. And
At
you got
Chick-fil-A.
listen, what red stripes will go right on this? It will
Whole
look
chicken,
just,
whole chicken on the side of this thing.
On the side of the Fox body. Okay, this is a super exciting video. Here's why. Because what are you laughing at?
I just pictured this as like the grilled nuggets box.
Oh, just pop the trunk. And the fuel cell is like a ranch sauce packet or like a honey mustard Chick-fil-A sauce. Oh man, we're getting good at that.
All right.
Okay, so this is the most exciting video, and this is why. And I know you're like, oh yeah, he's just hyping this up. No, I am pumped because, yo, this car's ready to go to the dyno right now. Also, I'm awful at shooting these videos because you probably should have seen how it got to this point where it's running, and I don't. So they're like updated videos instead, but it's okay. So that obviously you can see the trunk's on for the first time ever. We got some latches on the trunk so that we can hold them. The fuel cell stuff is 98% complete. I'm missing E85 content sensor, so I have this one hose just looping where there'll be another matching radium hose that will have a content sensor mounted here. The car is full of fuel, and fuel pump works and primes and all that stuff. I need to make a little prop guy that comes down and holds this for when we're fueling. And the wiring stuff, as you saw in the last video, if you didn't, check it out. None of it is really loomed outside of the stuff that we knew was going to be final, like ground for the fuel pump and fuel level sensors and all that stuff. So you can see like everything will look like this when it's done. Just some cheap, kind of simple, safe covering stuff. So everything is wired there. It's kind of cool because
I like these taillights.
yeah, I'm going to show you that. So they work.
They work? What do they do? Do they do cool flashy things?
On,
Yeah.
and then
Ooh.
so that works. That's kind of neat.
He fancy. He got taillights.
I know. And we have actual wheels on the car. So we have these
White.
new Drifts wheels, 5 spokes. These are super light, so everyone's like, oh, where's your Regamasters, bro? Well, kind of a long story. I keep destroying them and I can't get them anymore. And people have like sent me like death threats because I keep wrecking Regamasters. And I do feel bad about it because they're really difficult to repair because of the lip design. When you smash a lip, there's no real way to do it without like loading it into a CNC machine and machining the face again after you've welded it. So yeah, so I went with these are actually only 1/10 of a pound heavier than the Regamasters. They're 18 pounds, 4 ounces for an 18 by 9.5. So we got those on there now with 275s on them. They're flow form, they should be pretty strong. But I have a question for you guys. I've got the white ones on this side. And then on this side, I have gold ones, because obviously white, gold, purple, those are my 3 colors for the most part. So let me know what you guys think and which one's going to be the better option of the two.
White.
I know, I like the white too, but the gold is kind of neat. I just haven't gotten that far. Rear brakes are completely done. Power Stop hooked us up with some new powder-coated calipers and their rotors that are drilled and slotted. Which for drifting doesn't really matter with that, but the pads are their Power Stop track day pads, so they lock up really, really good. That's what we run on all of our school cars and whatnot. I have to fix this one stud, extended stud.
Dang, who painted these?
I don't know. It was either you or me for this one. Not sure.
I went over your paint job with white, so.
Oh, hi, pup. She's like, oh, yep, check me out, dog. Hello, hello. Okay, so let us know in the comments what you think about those wheels. But yeah, so trunk's good. Interior stuff, which you saw in the last video, is good. All we got to do is I have a LiPo battery pack that we're going to put in here, but I'm not doing it until the car's running, dyno tuned, everything, because there's a lot of stuff you have to do with power, and I want this huge like Voyager deep cycle battery in there for right now. because if you have to have anything powered up and whatnot.
Are you putting Lexan here or glass?
Yeah, I'm doing Lexan here.
Why?
It's hard to get glass rear windows for this thing, and they're kind of expensive, so I can do Lexan for the same price. And once this is all riv nutted to put a window in, it'll be pretty easy to install it. And then we're gonna do a tray here that kind of comes up and blocks this, like all aluminum, or maybe our ABS plastic, something simple as like a firewall. But yeah, so that's exciting. Brakes are done and they do work. The handbrake works. Front brakes are completed. They have been for a little bit. So the front brakes are they're Willwoods, and they are a kit that you can just straight buy for the S197. Sorry, not S197, SN95. And then just with a smaller rotor. So basically, you just take the spacer out of the caliper and you run the drag rotor. The goal is with the front end is always to have the steering aspect of the car be as light as possible. So we've got the Willwood kit, just bolts right on, no modifications need to be made. 2-piece rotor with a drag rotor itself, and then these Willwood 4 pistons are pretty sick, so they're on, they work. Everything is bled and completed. If we crank the wheel, you can see it's got some angle.
I have a question first.
Yes.
You might have said it in another video, but I don't watch your videos. How much weight do you think you lost in that?
Oh, I did this already. So it's 19.5 pounds per side.
Dang.
So 40 pounds of savings going to this style rotor and caliper setup. And the braking force is way better than some old junk that was made 25 years ago. We've got our BCs in, and this is the final ride height. This is not the final angle. I have some limiters on here now because I have to go test some things first. And I want to be able to make sure that everything is good before I start reeling in the angle. The Scotty D steering kit on this car will allow it's about another 15 degrees over this. I don't think I'll be able to use that just because of the sizing of everything that I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to run stock fender, mostly stock fender. And the angle isn't that big of a deal. We'll just add it as we need and get to what we need overall. But all that stuff's done. You can see the oil cooler picked up in here. It's kind of out of the way. Yeah, so the BC coilovers on here are the final stroke, final length and everything for what will be sold to the public. I'm still just kind of waiting on the top hat to be completed. So right now we have another car's top hat with an additional hole drilled so that we could get caster and camber adjustment. But in the long run, we'll get that factory BC one that has caster and camber adjustment. With all the COVID and crazy stuff going on and everybody buying kits, it's been crazy trying to get anything from any company manufactured. But yeah, BC's getting that stuff all going. We've got our alignment set so the tie rod is straight into the rack, so it's parallel with everything there. That way it doesn't over center. So that's all in and ready to go. You can see the oil filters in there.
Dang, that paint job, dude.
I know.
It's almost like I did it out in the field.
You did do it out in the field. We have to fab a hood prop still, but the hood is on and the hood is gutted. Probably gonna do this in the middle now.
Yeah, she's a little floppy.
Okay, the engine is complete. It's a little dusty because we were cutting some fiberglass off. So we've got radiator is mounted, intercooler is mounted, oil cooler is mounted. All the charge pipes are built out and they're as simple as possible, one piece charge pipes. So 4 couplers in total, 2 pipes made. You can see here it runs along the frame rail. Unfortunately, I had to run a 90-degree elbow off the turbo, which will probably be a problem. But if it all works out, everything's good, we can take this and weld a 90 onto the turbo and then just have a straight coupler here or here. That should be pretty easy. To be honest with you, I don't know how long I'm going to keep the stock turbo either, but at least probably a year of all that stuff with the stock turbo. 4-inch intake, that was a big thing. Wanted to run a 4-inch K&N filter. Even though it's only a 2-inch inlet, it's all about having as much turbo noise as possible. And the way you do that is by having the largest amount of pipe and in diameter and the basically the most amount of funnel that you can into the turbo, because it creates this really crazy turbulent noise, tons of compressor surge, tons of turbo spool and everything.
So it's like 8 inches. That's what everybody says.
Yeah. Yeah. So 4-inch tube, 10-inch length. But it's weird how it tapers, so, you know. Anyways, radium catch can is installed. Our radium overflow is installed, which is also a pressurized tank. And everything is ran from the top of the radiator, the back of the head, the drain back tube. Everything in the cooling system is routed. Yeah, that's the turn signal. Haven't gotten that far yet.
That's the turn
signal.
no. I just asked you.
No, it is wired up. So that is this light, which I don't even know what that does. It's a running light, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, so cooling system is ran. I'm waiting on a radiator cap from Radium. They only had a low pressure one in stock, and they do have higher ones, so that's coming. Let's see, what else? Oh, it's all wired. The link is installed. As you can see, it uses a stock harness and setup. So there's no real modified harness setup over here. We've got our -6 feed line going to the stock pump. We're not using a vacuum pump on this car, so we've got that capped off. Oil cooler is made with the filter installed. Everything is wired up. Power steering pump in, mounted, and functioning. I'll show you guys that.
Click a fancy button.
Yeah, on the dash, and you can hear it. It will slowly wind up.
Well, I was just trying to get the volume in there, dude. What are you gonna see here?
So now it's basically getting up to full
take
torque,
off, dude.
and then if you steer it.
Oh, sorry, bub. Sorry, bub.
We have power steering now. So that's kind of cool. I got to work on why it ramps up. It might always do that because of the cup car programming, but that's going to be kind of a pain if you forget to turn it on, because it takes like 20 seconds to actually get steering. In the return line from the rack back to the pump, there's a 100 micron fuel filter in there to catch all the debris. I don't know if there's one integrated into these pumps. I don't think there is, so I figured it'd be important to get that done. Brake tees, I mean, this thing's pretty much getting there. Strut stuff is mounted. Again, we're getting DC ones that will basically bolt in here. They will also allow more adjustment to get this out of the bolt circle if you want, or into the bolt circle if you want. You'll just have to cut this hole larger. The off-the-shelf stuff will have no problem being able to get full adjustment of the circle inside of here. But some of the drift guys will want it to run farther forward to get the wheelbase farther forward. This seems to work good in theory, geometry-wise, but we'll see. What else? Oh, bumper's on. That wasn't on in the previous video. And we've got a bumper bar that basically comes up in here. That's a crash bar. At the intercooler mounts too. As you can kind of see right here. So that's in there. Very simple crash bar, but everything's super rigidly mounted.
There you go. That's better.
There's no airflow to anything, so I cut this hole here. The goal is just to get it ready for the dyno. Obviously, trying to get as much weight off the front as we can. The hood has been gutted to get as much weight off the front end as possible. The headlights work. Yeah, I think that's about it. As I say, so the coolest thing about this is the
Super
fact
JDM
that,
mirrors, dude.
What's up?
These JDM mirrors.
Oh yeah, they're kind of cool. They're like some stock Mustang thing, but they're like different than the ones I had seen. I still have to cut this. One day I'll remember to cut the shaft out, because it's like I'm driving Vaughn's car. That's how he drives. But check this out. Are you ready? your finger?
No,
oh,
I
in the
put-
shot.
boop.
Oh, all good. So it runs. We still had a radiator cap, so it's, hey, pup, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
She was
She's
mad
scared.
nervous.
She's mad nervous. It's all right. I know, it's a little loud. It's straight 3.5-inch pipe right now. It'll have some MBRP mufflers as soon as we can get them in, and we have a spot for them already kind of mocked up, so that'll be cool. The goal is, these motors notoriously don't sound like really racy and cool, so the goal is to kind of make the car's exhaust note quieter and focus heavily on the turbo noises and stuff from the front end. Also, it'll be nice to drive it around and stuff that way. Jump out. Oh yeah.
Hi, pup.
I feel like,
Oh.
I feel like that's most of a recap as to what we've been doing. Next video will be this thing, hopefully on the dyno. And then after that, it'll be just buttoning it up, doing a bunch of little things. Once it's tuned though, we'll probably focus on putting the new battery setup in it, tie that down, and then actually go testing in it. And just see how it does. Rip some laps, get Jason from Link to go out and give us some data and make sure the tune is good for actual drifting and not just horsepower pulls. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for 350 and like 400 foot-pounds of torque on this turbo in the beginning, and then we'll push it to see what it can make like all in up top, and hopefully just max out the turbo so that we have a like kill mode that can be done when the actual gas pedal hits the kickdown switch. But we got a lot of work. The direct injection is not easy to tune. There's a lot of different variables there. There's multiple fuel pumps on the motor, in the tank, and all that has to be correct fuel pressure wise. And the timing of all of those things need to be right. So it's not just a matter of like changing the injector timing a little bit and changing the ignition timing a little bit. There has to be an entire map that's built out for all of that stuff. So, yeah, like I said, I think I'm a little over on my 2,400 pounds of meat in it weight with these doors, but I think with the doors off, we're gonna be still right at the goal. But we're gonna put it on the scales and start setting the suspension up after it gets off the dyno, and yeah, then hopefully go test it. So let us know what you guys think about the wheels, the drifts wheels, whether you want white or gold. I'm just curious. I feel like it's gonna be a split. I love white wheels though. I feel like, and they work really good on this. I don't know, we'll see. Let us know what you think about that. Let us know what the deal is. If you didn't like the video, or you don't like something going on in the car, or you have a question about that, just comment, let us know. And yeah, I'm getting excited. It's close. It's almost ready for burnouts. Almost ready for burnouts. See ya.